Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stamp and Chat Live. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Tonight, we're going to have some fun because we are going to be doing foil two ways. One way with heat, one way no heat at all. And we're going to be using a cover plate tonight. It's one of our brand new cover plates, and it's called the Crescent Mandala. And I just love this one. People have been asking me to do something with it since we released it over the Black Friday weekend, and I haven't done a card with it yet for you guys. So I thought tonight would be the perfect time to use it and to show you two ways that you can use foil. Now, people are always saying to me, I don't have a laminator or I'm waiting to order the fuse. Can I still do something with foil? So tonight, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do it with no heat at all. And for those of you that have the fuse, I'll show you how you can make a card with the fuse, with heat. There's all different kinds of combinations that you can do between these two techniques too. And both of them create very similar looks, very exquisite looks, and I think you're going to like them. But before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Gina K.
How are you tonight?
Doing okay.
Good.
Better than horrible.
Well, you have a word of the day, maybe?
Phrase of the day, I think so.
Ooh, a phrase of the day. It's
Yes.
getting more exciting and more innovative.
You
I
think?
like it. I think so. Soon we'll have to have a story of the day. We have enough of those.
Oh yeah, we can do all kind of different twists. The remember that moment of the day.
Yeah.
Remember that feeling of the day.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. We could do it. It could turn into a podcast real quickly.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to get started on tonight's technique because this one is going to take a little while to do.
Go, girl.
All right, so let me show you what we're going to be using. So this here is the Crescent Mandala. This is what it looks like when it's cut out. And this is the actual cover plate. Now, a lot of people ask me what the difference between a die plate and a cover plate is. And the answer is nothing. We call them cover plates because they cover the front of the card. And that's kind of one way to distinguish them from other types of plate dies that might be a plate like a word plate that cuts out the word love or something like that. It's still a plate, but it doesn't cover the whole piece of cardstock. So we are going to be using this. Now, I've already pre-cut some of these, and I want to show you what they look like cut out. And I cut this in white, and I think it looks so beautiful in white. But I also cut it in black to see what that would look like. And both of these are so pretty. So I think I'm going to go with the white tonight and use some of the pieces from this black one that I cut out to do some paper piecing into the white one. So the cool thing about this technique, too, that I'm going to show you tonight is when you are cutting out these dies, this is kind of like, remember when Jennifer McGuire did the never-ending foil thing with us when she and I went live, where you foil a piece of polyglaze and then you peel that off, and then what you peel off you can foil onto the next thing, and which, you know, you kind of like are peeling back and forth, and you can keep using the different pieces, and the cards never seem to end. This is kind of the same thing. You know, you cut this out and then you cut this out for the inside stuff, but then you have this for the outside. Then you cut things out to put on the inside of this, and you have that for the outside, and it keeps going. So you're making use of everything. Now, I'm going to first show you what I did here. So I took three of these, and I glued them together to create a nice thick one. You can see how much thicker that looks. Maybe it's kind of hard to see, but I think you can see it's a little more sturdy. It looks a little bit deeper. And the reason why I wanted to glue 3 of them together is because we are going to be doing some paper piecing. And although paper piecing looks really pretty when you just kind of fit the pieces in like a puzzle, I always think it looks really good when you put it in there and it sinks down in a little bit. So that gives it a little bit more depth and dimension. It makes it feel like there's different levels, because there is different levels. So I glued 2 of these together. Now I'm going to glue one more here. This one I glued 2 together, and I've got 1 left here that I'm going to glue for you just to show you how I do it. So of course I start on the back and I use Connect glue in the fine tip bottle. Now it seems like it would be really cumbersome to do this, but really what you're going to do is you're just going to do like the skinniest little line along the perimeter. And then I just do a couple little areas. I don't do everything. See how I'm just like doing just some areas. Like I'm not going all in that weave or anything. Nope. Just a little bit here. My glue is getting a little low. Pardon me. So it's super easy to glue these together. You don't have to do every single little spot is my point. Just kind of go into the bigger areas and get some glue around there and you'll be fine. Now I did do in this area, I'm going to add a couple little dots in here just randomly. I'm not even worried about getting into the holes because it won't matter. And then I'm going to go around the outside of this perimeter here. You'll notice that I am using such a tiny little bit of glue. It's not heavy. Watch how skinny that is. See that? And that's the way to do glue on cardstock, especially this 80-pound layering weight where you don't get like ripples in it. See how thin that is? I don't know. Can they see that, Tom?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And then I'm just going to bounce it up and down a few times to make sure that it's together. And once it's together, then I just press it all down. And see, that was pretty easy to do. And that just fattens it up a little bit, makes it nice and thick. Okay, so now if you have anything like little frays that are kind of sticking out from the die cutting process, just kind of wipe those out with your tool. If any little glue got anywhere, wipe that out with your pick and stick tool. I use the pick and stick tool a lot when I'm doing paper piecing. Okay, and sometimes like you'll see like just a little fray. And if you do see that, just knock it out and you'll be good. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to do some foiling. So I have my fuse here and I did heat it up to 3. Now, if you're new to Gina K Designs, I'm going to give you the very, very abridged version of what I'm doing here because I've got a whole playlist. It's got probably 20 videos all about foiling. But I will tell you that the fuse is a laminator style foiling system. And all I did here was turn it on in the back, and then I hit this button and turned it up to 3. So this is ready. Once it turns green like it is now, it's ready. I was playing a little bit before we went live. And then I am going to use something called toner paper. Now, toner paper, you can also use polyglaze sheets for this, but toner paper is something that ThermoWeb makes. It's black toner paper. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take a smaller one here. I don't need this whole thing. I'm going to take one that's about a 1/4 sheet, and I'm going to trim it down to about 4 inches. Okay, 4 inches along the side. Now, toner paper is paper that is covered with black toner. And toner is what you need to grab foil. Now, Polyglaze is a Gina K Designs product, and Polyglaze is white, where toner is black. It's not white, it's actually clear, but when you do it on white paper, it looks like white sheets. And so the difference is that depending on what you want to show through, you can either use Polyglaze or you can use toner paper. In this case, I don't want anything to show through. So I'm just going to use a piece of toner paper and be done with it. I've got lots of toner paper in my collection. So I'm going to trim this down to just a little bit below 4 inches. And then I'm going to choose a color here for my project. So I'm going to use a glimmer kind of foil, like a glittery foil. So I'm going to use this one. It's glittering green. I'm going to use that because my other color that I used, and I've already done another one. Let me find it here. It's called Brilliant Blue. It's this one right here. And I thought these two colors would be so pretty together inside this mandala. So I'm going to take a piece of this foil. These are the fancy foils by Gina K Designs. They are made by our friends at Thermoweb. So you can use these, or you can use Thermoweb's Deco-foil in the clear tubes. That works the same way. The foil is all manufactured by them, so it all works the same way.
Question.
Yes.
What is the difference between paper piercing and die-cut inlay?
Die-cut inlay?
Yes.
It's kind of the same thing. Paper piecing and die-cut inlay is kind of the same thing. I guess the difference is paper piecing you can do with stamps too. So if you stamp a dress on a piece of white cardstock and then you stamp it again on pattern paper, you can cut out the skirt of the dress out of the pattern paper and piece it over the white part. So it's taking pieces and putting them together with other parts of it that are different, like the white. So that would be paper piecing. Die-cut inlay, here's the thing, guys. You know, you could call this paper piecing, or if you want to make another video, you could call it die-cut inlay, and it sounds like a new technique. It's not really a new technique. It's just maybe done differently because you're using a die instead of maybe something else, but the technique itself is the same. It's just the materials that you're using might be different. So if I call it die-cut inlay instead of paper piecing, then you understand right from the title of the video that I'm going to be using dies to do this instead of stamps. But the technique is pretty much the same. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my carrier sheet and I'm going to take this piece of toner paper, and I have a Swiffer duster here. Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate you. Chuck said, give the video a thumbs up. That's really, really special. Thank you, Chuck. It does really help my channel when people do that. Okay, and now I'm going to, I have 2. This is so thin that it's really easy to take 2. And you know what would happen if I put 2 through? Nothing really. I would just have 1 that would be a little bit wrinkled for the next time around. Okay, now I'm going to use that same Swiffer on the back of this piece of foil, and I'm going to put that on top. Go ahead, Tom.
Interesting question from Sherry. What color of ink is similar to glittering green foil?
Ooh, what color ink? I would say probably the closest one would be Jelly Bean. Maybe Lucky Clover. Maybe Lucky Clover. I'm going to say Lucky Clover. Let me grab it. It's right here. I would say Lucky Clover. Don't you think that's close? I think that's close. Jelly Bean Green might have a little more yellow in it. However, depending on how you turn this, you might see more yellow in it. So I would say Lucky Clover would be my first choice. Jelly Bean Green would be my second choice. We actually do have a Jelly Bean Green foil. All right, so now I've got this in my carrier sheet, and I've got the fold this way, and I'm going to send it through the fuse. All righty. Yeah, and you have to understand, like, as YouTubers, as content creators, a lot of us try to find the right way to describe something when it comes to a technique. So you guys get the idea right away. Oh, this is going to be something that I'm going to be using my dies with, or this is something I'm going to be using my stamps with, or this is something I'm using embossing powder with. It's kind of hard to come up with those titles all the time. And the techniques are ever so slightly different, but if you've done paper piecing with stamps, die inlays, the same thing. Okay, so now we're going to let this cool for a minute. All right. So Tom, you can ask any questions. I will do my best. But if anybody has questions regarding what we're going to be doing today, you know, make sure that you definitely ask those. I do see a question about cutting into your plate on the intracut, and that's okay. I've done it too. It's not going to hurt anything. You just don't want to do it all the time because over time that will dull your blade. But I did it twice in my video a couple weeks ago. So it's totally fine. It's not going to hurt anything. All right, I'm going to turn my fuse off and I'm going to put it aside here because we're not going to be using it anymore. I just wanted to make sure that I had some foiling to show you, some foiling with heat to show you. All right, let's see. Okay. And if there's any questions about your orders, make sure you reach out to customer service because I can't help you with those here on my live, but customer service can help you absolutely 100%. Our phone number is right on the first page of the website, or you can always email us at info@ginakdesigns.com. Okay, now this is nice and cool now, so I'm just going to peel this off, and you can see every little bit of foil came off of that. And now I have a piece of cardstock that is foiled. It's very difficult this foil is thin and it's very difficult to die cut it. It's even hard to cut it with a paper cutter. So by putting it onto a piece of toner paper, it thickens it up a little bit and it makes it easier to both die cut and trim with a paper cutter. So now I am going to cut this out using this die. So let me get my intercut here. A whole bunch of things just fell over. Okay. All right, there we go. We've got that in place. And then, just to prove my point, can you see here my cross? See my cross? I did cut into this plate, but it's okay. You'll be fine. It's totally fine. Now, here's my cutting mat. So this is what you always want to have your blade facing, is this cutting mat. Let me zoom out just a little bit because I think I might be a little close. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to find this die, all right, and I'm going to lay it onto my platform blade side up. And you see how I have it turned a little bit? That's the way I want it. And then I'm going to put it pretty side down onto the blade like that. Now I have my dial on the side. Tom, if you could move me out of the scene for a second. Over here you have two dials. I have it set to die cut and I have this dial, the tension dial, set all the way up to about 4. And that's because, again, this is such an intricate die that the way you get it to cut really well on a regular die cutting machine is by using a bunch of shims, adding pieces of cardstock on top until you get just the right amount of pressure. But on the intracut, this was made for intricate cutting. You just dial it up. So I dialed it up to 4. So it's like +4. Because there's if you go looser, I consider that like minus. You want to go to the right where it says tight and go up to 4. It actually says -4. So that's where you go. You go to the right to -4. And then I'm going to put this pretty side down. I wanted to make sure of that. And then you're going to lay your cutting mat on top. Now remember, the blade is going to cut up into the cutting mat. And then we are going to cut this. There we go. That was tight. Okay, so now you can see we have, this is all cut out here, and it's beautiful. This is very thin paper, so you want to take your time pulling it out. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Let me find some white cardstock to get behind it so you can see it. Isn't that so pretty? So shiny. So you could use this as well. You know, if you wanted to glue this right on top, you could start with that on your card, and then you could lay that on top of a white piece, and then you could do your die inlay or paper piecing into this if you wanted to do it that way. So I'm not sure yet. I haven't quite decided, but here is what's going to be a little tedious. We want to get all of these pieces out, and we don't want to lose too many of them because we're going to use some of these. We are going to use some of these. So I'm going to use some press and seal. Now, if you haven't seen press and seal, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it pretty much in Walmart and grocery stores. So this is press and seal. I've cut a piece of press and seal. I think I'm going to cut it down a little bit more. And there's a sticky side and a not sticky side. So I am going to put the sticky side down here onto my paper. Okay. And then I am going to just trim this around so it's not so flappy. It's a little easier to deal with. Now, you don't have to use press and seal for this. You can just do this over a piece of paper and just try to keep things organized. Okay. Why is the platform not a cutting surface? Well, this cutting mat is made out of a different material than this. So this is not meant to be, it's a plastic. This is more like a self-healing mat. So this actually helps preserve your blades. This is not meant to be cut on. And we sell backup mats. So after your mat gets so old and it does start to warp a little bit, I mean, I've been using mine for a long time and it's looking pretty straight. But, I mean, you can replace this and it's not expensive to replace. This would be quite expensive to replace. It's like solid. So you don't want to do that. So that's why. Okay, I'm going to put this die cutting machine away for now. And we're going to get to this job here. Now, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to just rub over this. I'm going to be a little careful, though. I'm kind of pressing. I'm going to be a little bit careful because this is a blade, you know, and you don't want to get cut, but it's not a super, super sharp blade. I mean, they're sharp, but they're not that sharp. And then I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to use my piercing tool. And I'm going to pierce this down into the press and seal. So I'm just poking these out and it's kind of staying on the press and seal. Now, is it going to stay perfect? No, it's not. The pieces are going to jump around a little bit, but they're going to be pretty much where I want them. And any one that kind of gets away a little bit, I'm going to be able to find it if I need it. It's not like just randomly punching them out all over your desk and then trying to figure out which one is which. By doing this on something like press and seal or on a piece of cardstock, another piece of cardstock that you can kind of press down and keep them all relatively in the right spot, this really helps a lot. Another thing that you can use for this if you don't have press and seal, and it really works well, is masking magic sheets. Because it's very easy to get the pieces back off of the masking magic, and it actually might grab them out of the die a little easier. So I've seen people do it. I haven't done it myself, but it's really kind of cool. So I think I'll try that in another video. I like to try things live because it's always fun when it doesn't work so that you guys can see me fail. You know. Just so you know, it's not just you. It's me too. It's all of us. We all try things and then go, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Okay, so this does take a minute. But the nice thing about this is you're not going to use every single one of these pieces. So you can use what you punch out of here to make several cards. You can just do that die cut inlay or paper piecing on whatever parts you want. So some might have, you know, one part done and some might have a different part done. Let's see. I feel like I didn't go in here, but they do feel kind of empty. So let's see. Did I get them all? I don't know. The ones that are still sticking out here, I'm worried about. All right, let's see. That's pretty good. Okay. Looks like I just have one or two in here. And this is where I don't care as much. You know, I'll kind of just take them out and put them near an empty spot. Just a couple. I think I only have 3 in here that I'm not sure where they go. But that's kind of cool, right? There we go. I don't know where that goes. I'll just put it right there. So here I have green. Is that a little too dark? Can you guys see this okay?
Yes.
Okay. So there I have green. Now earlier I did a blue one, the Brilliant Blue. So I've got a blue one here. And I also, remember when I showed you that black one like this one here? So I have black. All right. So let's do one that uses all of this hot foil, okay? So the first thing I need is a background for this, and I want that background to be black. So I am going to cut this down to create a border. Now you can use Master Layouts 2 die set to create the border if you want, because all of our cover plates match our Master Layouts 2 die set. But just to save a little bit of time, I'll just cut it out right here. So this cover plate measures 3.5 inches, so I want to go up about 1/8 from there. And then it goes 4 3/4 inch, so I want to go up to about 4 7/8 of an inch. Now I did cut it just a hair bigger, but I think it's going to be okay. Yeah, I can cut a little more off that top. That was a little overzealous. Not much though. There we go. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So I'm going to put that together. Hi, Kathy Z. All right, and then I'm going to use some Connect glue to adhere these two together. So it's a Connect glue kind of night for sure. All right, let's go ahead and do the same thing. We're just going to do that thin little line here, and then a thin little line here. I'm just going to go around some of these, just like I did before. And you know, because these are triple layered, they're not going anywhere. It's not going to bend up at all. So you really don't have to worry very much at all about this. Plus, when you actually do your paper piecing inside of this, you're going to be gluing those down as well. So you're going to get a lot of glue on here either way. It's kind of scary to be doing it actually on the paper that you're going to be gluing down. Anything could happen. I do like to get it a little close to the edge though, just so that the edges don't come up. There we go. Okay. So now this one, I can't just kind of knock them together and make sure that they fit. I actually have to look at what I'm doing and make sure that I get that nice border. The nice thing about liquid glue is it's forgiving, and you can kind of shimmy it around a little bit if it doesn't look right until it looks right. So let's see. I feel like it needs to come over this way a little bit more. Okay. Yeah. See, it's forgiving. It's hard for me not to just get my head right over it. You guys who make videos know, like when you get your head right over it, you're like, oh, Lord, I got to get my roots done. Okay. So now, oh, that's so pretty. Isn't that a beautiful die? I really like that. Okay. So there are tools out there that are made for getting the small pieces out. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Spellbinders may have one. But I tend to use my pokey tool, my paper piecing, or my pick and stick tool. I just like kind of the control that I get with this. And especially when I want to kind of keep everything together. But I know that there's tools out there that you can just rub over the back, and it's got all these little spikes, and it will kind of take care of that. Okay, so now what I want to do with this is I think I'm going to do like blue, green, blue, green, blue. Does that make sense? So let's start with that. So I'm going to just put a little glue in here for these two. Okay. We'll do the blue ones first. I could have done like half and half, but I think this is going to be pretty. We'll do the blue ones first. Okay. So now I am going to use my reverse tweezer here, and I'll start with the blue ones. And we'll pop that in. Let's see if we can get it in there. See, I'm bad with the tweezers. You know why? Because I'm used to the chin hair tweezers where you let go and it opens. And when I let go, it doesn't let go because it's the opposite. So I gotta stop thinking about the chin hair ones, and I gotta start thinking about the crafting ones. Okay.
Chin hair
I don't have
ones?
that. I don't have that in there, right?
Is that a brand?
The chin hair tweezers? Yeah. You get them at Walgreens. Okay. So that's in there. Okay. I have a lot more experience with the chin hair tweezers than I do with the crafting tweezers. It's a sign of age when you know more about the chin hair ones. Look, I am who I am. Okay, isn't that pretty? I love that. All right, next. So I actually take them from the spot on here that they are. Like, I'm not taking these two to do these two. I'm actually taking the actual ones. And because, you know, when this die was created, something could have been tweaked in the middle to make something fit. So, like, this one might be 0.2 of a millimeter smaller. So you do want to have the right one going into the right spot. But like for my next card, if I wanted to, my glue's drying because I'm talking too much about chin hairs. For the next card, you know, I could do green, blue, green, blue. So I can make use of all of these. And this is actually a very relaxing process to do. Sorry, Tom. I don't mean to. Am I hot? Hey. You have chin hairs too.
I've heard worse.
I know you have with 2 daughters. You've heard worse for sure. Tom does a lot of disappearing. He just walk up to say hi with me and Alicia and Rena, and we're talking, and he's like, all right, I'm out. All right. So now I have that blue in there. It's so royal and beautiful. So now let's put the green ones in here. We're going to leave a lot of black, though, because you know I love black. I know that's not a shocker to anybody, right? But I think the blue and green together is so pretty. And I definitely like using the big pieces more than, you know, fidgeting around with the small ones. Although I have somebody that works here at Gina K Designs who actually paper pieced the entire snowflake cover plate. And let me tell you, it was spectacular, but it took her forever to do that. So it can be done, but it's a lot of work. And I don't think, you know, it's not necessary for it to look really beautiful just by adding a little bit of this foil in here. So this is the hot foil version. I did this one first because this is the time-consuming one. The other one is super easy. I mean, we're still going to do paper piecing, but I think it might even be a little easier. Okay. And you can add other colors too. I mean, this could be a 3-color mix for you. All you have to do is do one more toner sheet of foil and cut it out. I think, gosh, that purple would be beautiful mix in here, or little bits of red would be gorgeous. Isn't that so nice? It looks like jewelry. It's so pretty. Okay. So let's definitely put one in here. I feel like we could put the green in here because we don't have as much green. So let's put the green in here. That is beautiful. And you see how it just sinks down in there? Now, if we want to be really fancy, we could do these and leave the rest of that all black. Or we could do these parts here. I don't know. I think these might be really fun to do. And we could do them opposite, like we could do green, blue. Why don't we try that and see how that looks? We'll do green and then blue. So, oh, this is kind of fun. So I think this was the one that popped out. So there's green, and then we'll do a blue. Just that little bit. You guys have to try it. And then we'll do blue here and then green. You have to try it because it's not anywhere near as impressive on screen as it is in real life. Blue. These are popping right in really easily. I think it's this one. This press and seal is very sticky. There we go. Ooh. Yes, I like this. And I think it's simple and it will still leave a lot of black. We're just kind of doing the big areas, the easy ones. So green and then blue. You guys hanging in there with me? They are. You guys are awesome. And then blue here. Okay. And then blue here and green. And then we do have to do these over here on the side to make it complete. So this is kind of the fun. Now, if you don't have toner sheets, like I said, you can use the plain white polyglaze sheets and just cover those and cut those out the same way. They will cut out just as nicely because that is our, that's very similar. It's like the same weight as our 80-pound. It's a little different, but it's the same weight. And so you can see here how the 80-pound cardstock cuts so nicely. It's very similar to that. Okay, and then we need to do this one. Now this one's special because it's got a little bit missing. And we're going to do that in green. And then hopefully I didn't lose the blue one for up here, or the green one for up here. I don't think I did. So what do you guys think of this? Is this fun? Just so lovely. Hey, Jennifer McGuire. I see you. Now, I'm going to lay one in here and tell me what you think. Should we do this or should we just leave it? Should we have one in here? No, you know, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, it's pretty, of course. It's not bad. Let's do it. Should we do it? Let's do it. Okay. So I'll put blue up here. You'll see very soon why the other one is going to be a lot easier. And then we'll do green down here. Grab it here. It's the right one. It's very sticky. Oh, I think I am better with chin hair tweezers for sure. Let's just press that down in there. There we go. And I did get a little glue right here, and I'm just going to take my Mono Sand Eraser and just lightly buff that off. There we go. Okay. Blue here. green here. And then we got to get that tiny piece for there and there. If we don't have it, it's not going to be the end of the world, because it is so tiny and it probably wouldn't be noticed. But you know, if you're one of those people that it just has to be the way it has to be, then by all means put it in there. Alrighty. This is almost done. We're going to put this on a card base and pop a greeting on, and it will be done. And it's so nice because you can add embellishments on this if you want, but it's got so much sparkle and shine that you almost don't have to. Okay, so in here, I do have this little blue piece right here. I don't know if it's gonna fit. Let's see if it fits. Should I try it? I'll try it. Can you see it? It's really tiny. This is one of those like, are you kidding me? Do you really need to do it? But I did it. I'm gonna do the green one over here. Because why not? Just why not? Oh, do I even have? Yeah, I do. I think. Is that it? I may have lost that one. I'm going to try and see if this one fits. It's the opposite side. I think it's going to fit. I can just get it to let go.
Now you're all out of balance.
I am. I might be. I can't get it off the tweezers. There we go. I'll just poke it in there. There we go. It fits. Okay. So there, and it is in there. My goodness, that was crazy. So let's just put all of these aside for a second, and we are going to get a card base for this. And I definitely think in this case, because there's so much beauty going on in this image, and it is such a clean and simple image, that I am going to go with the white card base for both of these. And let me find my score bud. So we're going to make a book fold style. 4 1/4. I didn't cut that very well. I'll go back and trim that. Oh, it's not bad once I scored it right. Okay. Now, what's cool about this design is you can do it any way you want. If you wanted that coming up from the bottom of your card, you could do that. If you wanted it coming down from the top of your card, you could do that. But I'm going to do it as a side fold card. And I think I'm going to put a few little pearls on it too, just because I can. Oh, look at that nasty edge. I didn't cut that very nicely at all. Let's just clean that up a little bit. There we go. Looks better. Much better. Okay. Yes. Oh, I love it. Now, I feel like we could use some of these for this card. And we don't need a lot of them, but I think they would be very pretty. Now, for example, we could use this bigger one on the end of each of these like that. I think that would be very pretty. And then we could, oh, I just dropped it. Let's really kind of like pull all these out here. So we could do a silver one kind of in the middle here, like this. Okay, and that gives us something on each side. Now we could flip that, you know, if you like the bigger one toward here and then this smaller one there. Sometimes that's more appealing to people because, you know, it gets smaller as it goes out. And I don't know, I feel like that might just be a thing, if that makes sense. Let's just pop them on here and you see if you like it. I feel like I'm going to like this.
Patty wants to know how mermaid sequins would look.
Oh, I bet they would look very pretty. Because they do have that kind of blue and green in them. I think they would be very pretty. So I'm really hoping that some of you guys either have this or you have something, you know, we have another stencil in our collection that's got like a kind of a mandala effect to it. And I would love to see your rendition of this card. So if you feel like, I feel like these in the middle might be too much, but we'll see. You have to do the whole thing. Anywhere that there's a thing, you know, you gotta, like anywhere that there's a point, you have to do the whole thing. But I don't want to do one here because I'm going outside of that line, if that makes sense. So I think that looks really pretty. Let's do it. We're just going to embellish. I mean, can you ever have enough embellishments on a card, really? No. So we'll just glue and plop. Kathy, are you booping for me? I'm doing the outside first. I don't know why I got into a groove here, so. Maybe the smaller ones would look better in the inside, too. It's a lot of smalls, but maybe these are too big. I'm going to just grab a couple smalls to try it. Getting stuck. And then the other one's going to go fast. I am going to make the other card, Tom. I know it's a little late, but why not? I promised, so I feel like I have to. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to just pop these glue dots on here, and I'm doing them left-handed, which I'm not left-handed at all. But I think I'm going to go for the smallies. I hope I have enough. If not, this is going to be one weird card. I have enough. I'm going to put that energy out there. I have enough. Yeah, I like the small ones on here. And I'm going to take some up-close pictures of this, and you guys will get to see, you know, how it looks with the foil stuff kind of sinking down in there. It definitely looks really pretty. One more. I can do it. There we go. Okay, so for greetings, I'm just going to put on one of our sentiment strips. So this could be a love you card, or it could be a birthday card. Let's make this one a birthday card. And I'm going to pop the birthday greeting right in there where there's some open space. And I can do that just with a little bit of tape. And I'll pop it right in there. It won't go right to the edge. But there we go. So there is that card. Oh, I really like it. It's so fun. Okay, so I'm going to put this card aside, and then we're going to get to the next one, and it's not going to take very long. That's why I feel like we can do it. So I'm going to get some sparkling silver, and we're going to make this a rainbow card. So I am going to take one little sheet of sparkling silver, and then I'm going to cut a piece of cardstock down a little bit smaller than this. So this is 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of cardstock and I'm going to, I have to cap my glue. Let me just cap my glue. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. So I'm going to cut this just a little smaller. So it's going to be like 3 3/8. Is that what that is? 3 3/8. So it would be 3.5 normally. Yeah. So 3 3/8. And then normally be 4 3/4. So now it's going down to 4 5/8. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pair of scissors. I'm going to lay that on the back of the foil. And I'm going to take a pair of scissors and I'm going to trim this foil down to match that white piece of cardstock. So this one is no heat. Okay. So now I am going to make this super easy. I'm going to do the tiniest little bit of tape right along the edge. I know I got it on my table, but it's tiny. Can you see the tape marks there, Tom? Can you see
can't.
that? You can't? All right. Well, there's a tiny little bit of tape right there, right on the edge. I didn't go like the full strip. I just went right along the edge. And I'm going to take this piece of foil and I'm going to attach it right there at the top like that. Now, the reason why I wanted to do it so tiny, oh goodness, let me move that. I got to move it a little bit. The reason why I wanted to do it so tiny there is because I am going to be putting this on top and I don't want that tape to show through. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing down here, just right tiny along the edge. All right. And then I'm going to flatten this out as I go. I'm going to just flatten it down. There. Okay, so now I've got it nice and flat and along the edge. Don't worry that it's not perfect along the sides. If you want, you can trim that off along the side here. It's not a big deal. You're not going to see it because this is smaller. It's a little bit smaller, right? So you're not going to see any of that. Now we're going to take some Copic markers. You need to do alcohol markers with this, or if you're going to do ink, it has to be a permanent ink. You can't use a dye ink. It'll just rub right off. So you have to use a permanent ink. I'm going to use Copic markers. You can use Olo markers, Arteza markers, whatever, Sharpies, if that's what you have. It's totally fine, but it has to be permanent. And I'm going to do just a rainbow pattern going down here. So I'm going to start with red, and I'm going to color red all over this. Okay. Maybe I'll go a little further down. Then I'm going to go into orange. You want to go across the entire thing. Going up into that a little bit, but it's okay if it looks a little streaky here. You're barely going to notice this. Then I'm going to use yellow. In there. Then green. And I have a dark green here. I have ocean green. The colors I'm using are R46, Y09, YR09, Y18. This one is G28, but don't worry if you're not writing them down because I always list everything that I use in the description. But the lighter greens don't really show up as well as this one does, so I decided to use it. And it's a little streaky, but it's okay. You can streak out some of that. And then I'm going to do B06, which is the blue. Do a little bit more blue. Let's see if I mix another green in there. I'm going to try YG09. See, it just kind of disappears, but at least it gets rid of the streaks. Okay. I think it's going to be just fine. We'll let that dry for a second. And then what I'm going to do is, this is just going to go right on top, and you'll be able to see how pretty that looks. It's rainbow foil, right? And it's so nice here because you don't have to worry about having a laminator or having a fuse or a mink. This is one way if you have some foil, and you can do this with any kind of foil. If you have hot foil, do it with your hot foil. Any kind of foil will work because all you're doing is coloring and you're just taping it down onto some cardstock. The reason why I don't glue this all onto the cardstock is because you're going to see all the dents everywhere. By just securing it at the top and the bottom, it's going to look much smoother when you turn it sideways. See, you don't really see dents in it the way you'd see every little outline and squiggle of glue. So I'm going to do some tape on these parts. And then I'm going to go around the perimeter here with the tape right along the side. Okay. And then I'm going to just tape that whole thing right on top. There we go. Okay. Now this whole thing is going to go onto a black panel. And then, let me get a black panel here. Where'd all my black cardstock go? Here's some. I need a whole new sheet. So let me cut this in half first. I have all the, I think I told you guys this before. If we have any cardstock that comes damaged, I get it. I get all the damaged ones, the stuff that has like a dent in it, all that kind of stuff. So this could once again be cut down with Master Layouts 2 die set, but I just cut it out with a paper cutter, and I cut it to 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. So we'll mount that together. And now all we're going to do with this one is everywhere that we had, oh, I put that right on where all my tapey things are here. Let's just go back to this side. I like this side better. And I have to get that off. So I don't even remember what I was saying. Do you remember what I was saying, Tom? I don't know that Tom was listening to me. Were you listening, Tom? No? Is that a no?
I was not.
Okay. Now, to his defense, he's got a lot of buttons and things, and he's monitoring comments and always looking for spammers. So I'll give him a pass on that one. I actually lost my, oh, here it is. I was going to cut a new white piece of cardstock. So, okay. So now I'm going to trim this down. I'm going to score this at 4 1/4. This is that other half of that white sheet.
Debbie said you were starting to tell us where the embellishments were going to go.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank goodness someone's listening to me. I've got to put a little glue in here. Yes, so I'm going to show you exactly where the paper piecing is going to go. And we're just going to use some of those bigger elements in black. This is not my coming off from the card base. These are my layers that I was supposed to glue together, and I forgot to glue that corner. So I'm going to show you exactly how, let's not put this on wrong, to throw in the paper piecing. And we're going to put black in places where we put foil before. So we'll have some bigger black elements, which will be beautiful. And there's that icky edge again. I have to make it nice because I give these cards away, you know? It's got to be nice.
Are we doing a word of the day, or are we going to let that ride?
Oh, I definitely, well, you said it was a phrase of the day or a
phrase of the day.
Saying of the day. So while I am paper piecing these black pieces into those same spots, you do the word of the day. How's that?
All right.
Okay.
Phrase of the day. Okay, so when I was a kid, I played baseball. And I don't really know why, because I wasn't very good at it, and I didn't really enjoy it. It was one of those things, maybe because my friends played baseball, and it was summertime. My mom was like, "Get out of the house." So,
Don't come home till it's dark.
so my position on the team, I played the shout fielder. So that's the phrase of the day, shout fielder. That's probably a position you never heard of, but that was a position on our team because I was out there in the outfield, and I guess once in a while I needed a, "Hey, Krupski, pay attention. For crying out loud, you're looking all around."
Not listening.
Yeah. So I was the shout fielder. That was my position. Looking fondly back on my years
That's pretty funny.
as a baseball player. Back to the dead space.
The shout fielder. All right, I like it. So you can see how quickly this one comes together. You don't have to alternate. They're easy to actually pick up and just pop right in. I don't know why the foil ones are a little bit more sensitive coming off the off of the press and seal, but isn't this pretty? I love the black elements in here. Ooh, like. Now, see, I don't want to put stuff in there, but I might, I don't want to get rid of all of that beautiful color, so I might just go with like these. Because you've got a lot more subtleness going on here with that color. It's so soft, and you don't want to lose it. You definitely want to have, enough black that it makes sense. I wonder if I have what I need for that little corner one. I think I might. We'll see. So, obviously this one might be a tiny bit easier to do, and you need less tools and supplies to do it. Oh, I do have these. Okay. I do have to pull this off with the tweezer, though. And we'll make this one a little more simple without the embellishments, since it's got actually a lot more foil going on. Here's the other one. Put a little glue in there, but you do need it. You see how with the black, you definitely need that little one in there. We could try one more thing. I don't even know if I have them, but let's see. Let's just see. Sometimes, it's not finished till it's finished. Yeah, I think I'm going to put these in here. And then I'm done, because I don't want to take away too much of this rainbow. I'm going to pop that in. And then we'll put our greeting on. And this one will be done too. Let me give you the side-to-side look. Now, if you're really, really aggressive, you could maybe do that little ring going around. Might be very pretty. I don't have enough time to do that. I think this is going to do it. I think this is going to look pretty good, just the way it is. But you definitely could do that if you wanted to. I don't even know if I saved all of those pieces. But look at that. Isn't that so pretty? It just has such a nice look about it. Okay. And if you wanted to, like you felt like, okay, I'm looking at this and I feel like it just doesn't have enough, what you could do instead is, and I'll do it. I'm going to put a dot here, a dot here, dot here, here. I think this will make the difference. This will give us just that little touch of black where it's missing in the ring. And I'm going to use these tiny little black embellishments in here. I wasn't going to embellish, but you know, I think it needed this. And I think you'll agree, these are all part of our metallic pearls. And I'll put that in the description too, just in case anybody's new and you're new to Gina K Designs. We do have embellishments too, and these are part of them. I need one more smally here. Right there. Okay, so that just gives us that little bit of extra black. And then for the greeting, I have, these are our strip sentiments. Both of these sentiment strips came from the Mixed Messages set. And I have Love You So Much. And I'm going to put that right in there. I'll do that right in here. There we go. So this is our, what's it called? Our Crescent Mandala with no heat, still foil. And this is the one with heat, using the toner sheets and the fancy foils with the fuse. And they're both beautiful, and they both look very different from each other, but they're both super fun to do. So depending on whether you want to take your tools with you, whether you want to take your fuse with you, you could certainly do this one and have a lot more black in all those details. Or you could have the big chunks of black and have all of the foil in the smaller details. All right. So Tom, shall we give them away? It wasn't too bad. That first card took almost an hour and the second one took like 11 minutes.
All right.
All right.
Turn them loose.
Yes. Okay. So let's give away this one first. This is the one that is done with heat. So this is our fuse card.
Giving away some heat.
Yeah. Giving away the heat.
Drum roll, please. And the winner is Justine Mills. Justine.
Justine. Yay. Congratulations, Justine. Okay. And now we are going to give away the one with no heat. This is the foil with no heat.
Cool heat. Okay, this one
Cool
goes.
Heat, yeah.
This one goes to Robin Foyce. Robin Foyce.
Robin, yes. Congratulations. All right, ladies. Well, all you have to do is send your name and address to info@ginakdesigns.com, and we will get those cards out to you. Well, everybody, this was so much fun. I had a great time tonight. I hope you did too. I hope you learned a couple tips and tricks, and I hope that you'll give these cards a try. There's all kinds of cover plates out there that you can use for this technique, and whether you call it paper piecing or die inlay, it's a fun technique and one that you absolutely have to try. All right, so Tom and I will be back on Thursday for another Crafternoon Live. And until then, everybody, stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.